Hello,
Hello.
and welcome to Downstairs at Underhand Manor. Thank you for spending time getting to know the guests at Underhand Manor, and we hope that you have enjoyed puzzling out the mystery.
Yes, and we're excited that you could join us for the grand reveal. But first, let's try and pick up some of the clues and red herrings on our way to the solution. But where to start?
How about means, motive, and opportunity?
Means, motive, and opportunity it is. But first, means.
Oh, well, that's an easy one. It was the same for everyone. The murder weapon was already in the study. We heard from the witness statement of Mr. Lambert, the butler, that he found Sir Bartleby in his study bludgeoned to death with his own golf club. Now that's not according to the strict rules of golf.
But what about motive? I understand that Sir Bartleby was not a popular man.
That's right. Somehow he'd managed to alienate everyone around him.
Except Lambert.
Yes, Lambert seems to have been very loyal. But what about Lady Bombast?
Lady India had married Sir B, as he seemed charming, and she was delighted to return to her beloved family home. But the relationship had broken down, and Lady India had learnt that in the event of a divorce, she'd be entitled to very little. But if Sir B were to die, she would expect to inherit the estate. What about her friend Jack?
Yes, Jack and India go way back. They were very close and had plans to develop the manor house as a festival venue. But Sir B didn't agree. How far would Jack go to protect India and realise their plans for the estate? What about other members of the household?
Miss Prim looked like the archetypal secretary.
Personal assistant.
Personal assistant, totally devoted to her boss. But what if she believed that Sir Bartleby was about to dispense with her services? Could loyalty turn to hate?
Or maybe we need to take a look at Sir B's business dealings. Vladimir was Sir B's business partner. But if he thought that Sir B had cheated him, as shown by the WhatsApp conversation, might he be tempted to take revenge?
That's right. And what about Olga, the so-called countess? Vladimir says that she likes to spend money. India believes that there was a relationship between Olga and Sir B. And there is the evidence of Sir B's will, leaving everything to Olga. Could that have tempted Olga to take matters into her own hands?
What about Jeremy? He seems a respectable member of society, but we heard the evidence of the message that Sir B left on Jeremy's phone. Sir B was threatening to share some incriminating photographs if Jeremy didn't help Sir B get a peerage. Would Jeremy be willing to kill to protect his secret?
So everybody, except Lambert, seemed to have a motive. And finally, how about opportunity? Who had access to Sir Bartleby's study?
Well, anybody who was staying at Underhand Manor at the time. That includes family, domestic staff and the house guests.
Can we pin it down more precisely?
Well, we do know the approximate time of the murder.
Oh, how's that?
Well, we know from several witness statements that Sir Bartleby intended to listen to that morning's broadcast of Desert Island Discs on the radio in his study. He was a guest on that episode and it had been recorded several months ago.
Other Radio 4 programmes are available. How does this help us work out the time of the murder?
Well, the extract from the BBC website tells us that Desert Island Discs started at 11 a.m. and finished at 11:45.
And?
Well, and we know that Sir Bartleby was very cross about the way the programme had been edited. We know this because he wrote a letter about it. So the murder must have taken place sometime between the end of the broadcast at 11:45 and when Lambert discovered Sir Bartleby's body at 12:45.
So do we know where everybody was between those times? And what about Mr. Lambert?
Well, good question. Well, we know that Lambert was with the kitchen staff in the kitchen at the back of the house from just after 11 o'clock until he found the body at 12:45. What about India, Lady Bombast? She was heard to have a quarrel with Sir B in his study.
Yes, but the quarrel took place before the radio programme, and in her witness statement she claims to have been with Jack in the music room from about 12 until they heard Lambert raise the alarm. What about Jack?
Well, Jack says he was in the music room since the previous evening. He claims to have fallen asleep there after working on a song late into the night. Jack says that he was with India when the murder was discovered. So Jack and India alibi each other. What about Miss Prim?
Miss Prim claims that she had seen Sir B earlier in the morning and he'd agreed that she could have some time off, but he later changed her mind and told her to work in the library.
And did she stay in the library?
No, Miss Prim says that she went walking in the garden from about 11:30 to try and shake off a headache, and that she saw no one until she ran back into the house when she heard Lambert raise the alarm.
Is that conclusive?
What about Jeremy? Was he with Sir B during the morning?
Well, Jeremy says that he saw Sir B over breakfast, and then later in the morning he went down to the swimming pool in the building behind the manor and joined Vladimir in the sauna for the rest of the morning. So he was out of the house. What about Olga?
Olga says that she saw Sir B before his radio programme in his study. She says that she also saw India and Miss Prim in the house, and then she went for a very long horse ride and had to walk a long way back because the horse threw a shoe. She said she was walking back along the drive at the front of the house when she heard Lambert raise the alarm. Where was Vladimir all morning?
Well, Vladimir says he didn't have breakfast, so he didn't see anyone from the household until Jeremy joined him at the swimming pool and sauna at about 11 o'clock. Vladimir and Jeremy were together until they heard Lambert raising the alarm as they walked back to the main house.
So Vladimir and Jeremy would seem to give each other an alibi?
That's right. So having weighed up all the evidence, the means, the motives and the opportunity, who do we think done it?
I have my theories. How about you?
Well, shall we find out? Would the real murderer please step forward?
Very well, I confess. It was me. It is so unfair. I have a taste for the finer things in life, but I have no money of my own. I thought I had it made when I started working with Vladimir, but he is not a generous man. So when I met Sir Bartleby, I saw my opportunity. Sir Bartleby was good at making money and making enemies. And his marriage was breaking down. Once I knew that he'd made a will in my favour. I saw it was time to act. When the house was full of Sir Barnaby's enemies. But I needed a good alibi. So, on Saturday night, I sneaked out of the house and took my favourite stallion from the stables, and I hid him in the woods at the front of the house, away from the drive. I loosened one of his shoes and left him tied up overnight. It was easy because the moon was so bright. I thought that everyone would be asleep, weary after the dinner and the dancing. And the next morning, I made sure that India, that little fool, saw me in a compromising position with Bartleby. I knew their quarrel would be heard. And I told that stupid secretary that Bartleby wanted to be rid of her. She was so upset. I thought that duty would keep her in the house where she would make the perfect suspect. But she went out into the garden where Lambert and the staff would have seen her re-enter. I made sure that I was seen galloping away from the manor on a fast horse. I took shelter in the woods near the front of the house. At midday, I crept down the drive and let myself in at the front door of the house. I went to the study and, surprised, Bartleby with a 9-iron. Then I let myself out to the front door and concealed myself in the woods until I heard the ringing of the gong. Then I walked back down to the house, all innocent, down the drive, leading the horse with the missing shoe. It was a good plan, and I would have got away with it too, if it wasn't for your meddling thespians. So there you have it.
We hope you've had a lot of fun with our little mystery. We've enjoyed it. And we hope to see you all soon. But until then, it's good night from me.
And it's good night from him.
Good night.